Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. We're back with another topic video for today in my car while I'm driving off to doing something. So just excuse the shakiness and the noise if there is any. I just got stuff going on and just kind of in the midst of doing stuff. So but I'll be able to record while I'm driving. So let's do it. So today, I don't know. I mean, I have a curious question for some of you guys, which is in regards to video game adaptations. Because, The Last of Us show came out, which I don't plan on reviewing it just because I don't review television on here. I mean, I might in the future, but it has to be stuff that I'm interested in seeing. And to be frank, I mean, The Last of Us show looks fine. I don't really agree with the casting. I don't think it really works for me. And I've seen some bits of the first episode. And from what I saw, it was fine. But it kind of illustrates again my issues with video game adaptations, which is that they're always leaning very much so on the source material, or at least it feels like it a lot of times. And I feel like that's always an issue. When they always do a departure from the material, I find that more interesting. I know that it pisses off fans, but it invites more conversation, and actually makes something more distinct. Like if we look at adaptations for video games, because really, if we talk about adaptations, we boil it down to pretty much the last 4 years, I would say. Because before that, I mean, video game adaptations were kind of scarce. There were some here or there, infamously, back in the 90s with Mortal Kombat, more infamously Super Mario Bros. But 2016's kind of saw a resurgence when it came to video games in terms of film. We had Warcraft that came out, which was fine. We had Assassin's Creed, which was bad. A couple things here or there, like Tomb Raider, and more recently Uncharted, Sonic. Full disclosure, though, I haven't seen Tomb Raider or Uncharted, but I have seen plenty of other ones like Pokemon, the Sonic films. What else? Pretty sure there's not one that I'm forgetting. I just forget what it's called at the time. But I feel like they're always floating in the waters of mediocrity for me. I don't know why. I think it has to do a lot with just the source material, or not source material, but the handling of said source material. They always are either leaning too much into it, or they're not really using it for anything quite inventive or creative. Like with The Last of Us show, for what I've seen, it just looks like they're doing an adaptation of the game, which I understand that's inherent. That's what it sounds like a video game adaptation should be. For me, adaptations should be distinct. I don't want to see the same thing again, I haven't played The Last of Us games, but I know the story of The Last of Us. I know how it goes. And from what I can tell of the show, it just looks like it's going to be retelling that same story. And I feel that for presenting it to a new medium, I feel that the story should also be something new. Sure, it should have some features that remind us of the source material, but it shouldn't be the only thing that it's feeding off of. That's just personally my opinion. I know a lot of other people who would personally prefer what they're doing, in shows like The Last of Us or in other mediums like Pokemon and stuff like that. I understand that they would prefer it to be more comfortable, versus being challenged in the storytelling front. But I personally like a challenge. I like seeing, when someone takes something that's of mainstream popularity, and they, do something completely different with it, or something kind of out of left field. I like that more than just doing what we've done before. Like that's why I just don't have any desire to watch The Last of Us. Because I just know where it's gonna go. I might make a few changes here or there, but inherently it's the same story. And I just don't find that compelling. I want these adaptations to be adapted in that we're using the same characters, we're using a relatively the same setting, but the story has gone through changes. And it's we're making it from our own point of view versus just kind of copying and pasting, or just following some kind of structure or rule book. I don't really like that. Look at The Shining. Stephen King hates The Shining, right? Because it's not as truthful to the book, and Kubrick kind of does his own thing with The Shining. And The Shining, at least to me, is one of the greatest films of all time. I absolutely love The Shining because it does its own thing. It does what Kubrick wants to do with the story, not what Stephen King wants to do with the story. Because at that point, then Stephen King should just make his own version of The Shining. Make his own film and all that, and he actually did make his own film, and it was bad. But beyond that, besides that, like Kubrick did his own thing. He didn't choose to follow the source material. There are probably stuff that is from the book, but I heard a pretty different film compared to the book, or the movie's pretty different from the book. So, and to me, that's like a shining example of how you should do an adaptation. You should be able to look at your source material and go, okay, what can I do with this that brings a new dimension to the story, or brings my own voice into the story. Because that's also a thing about storytelling, is that you have to find yourself within such stories as well. And if you're not finding yourself within such stories, why do it in the first place? That's just me personally. I like to always find a part of myself or something to relate to when making a story. So, but strictly talking about video game adaptations, I just feel like they always play around in the same types of areas. They're always having to play up the visual sensibilities. Like with Pokemon, it was all about the visuals, right? It was all about seeing Pikachu and seeing this and that. With Sonic, it was all about Sonic's design. With The Last of Us, it seems to me, at least, it seems more like the visuals are what's really keeping it afloat, because I don't really care for the new actors taking on the roles, but I feel like the way that this can all change is that if more boldness was given, because I see the same. It's almost similar to superhero work, where it's I can kind of see a formula at play, and I wish that there was I wish that they didn't have to they didn't feel the need to stick so close to the source material. Your source material is your roadmap, okay, this is the material you have, but they never tell you to use it in a certain way. I would say just look at it and then just go to town with it. Do whatever the hell you want to do at that point. If you want to do something radically different, I'm game. I'm for that more than just seeing the same story again, and that gets into bigger discussions about remakes, reboots, and all that stuff, sequels, and all that kind of stuff. I would love to have more of a sense of originality, and I know I've barked about it so much on this channel, but I want there to be more originality when it comes to mainstream culture, or just in certain kinds of genres. And for such a particular genre as this, more or less action adventure sort of stuff, I just feel like I get the same flavors almost all the time with these films. Warcraft and Assassin's Creed, while by quality wise are fairly different, I still feel like I'm getting almost the same. like I feel like I'm still getting like the same type of tones, you know. Um, I can even go further with that, like with like Pokemon and Sonic, like they're not too far off in terms of tones. So you know, like I think The Last of Us stands out more. The reason why I bring up The Last of Us so much is because, well, it's the new thing, but also, like, I've been seeing so much praise for it. Like, a lot of people are really loving this show. And I feel like the reason for it is because it's more, tonally speaking, distinct, but not entirely. You know, like I said, there's still flavors that are familiar to me, like miscastings also, in my opinion. You know, like we had Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, and now we have Pedro Pascal as Joel, which I just don't think works for me. Nor the girl. I can hear her accent like almost all the time. Um, you know, um, like the new Ellie, I just don't really like as well. So, at least from what I've seen, I haven't seen the full episode, but I've seen enough to form an opinion. It's just like, yeah, you know. Um, but I would love in the future for more boldness to be taken with adaptations in any front, whether that be in a book, whether that be in a video game, whether that being a different piece of media, you know, whatever it is. Like adapting it for the big screen. I hope that, you know, someday we might get more boldness with such stuff, because there's always that expectation of, oh, we have to make sure it's true to the source material, or make sure that we hit these beats from the source material. To which I say, why? You know, why is that so important? You know, oh, we're gonna get backlash. Who cares? Who really cares? You know, like, you know, like to me that's an issue for the studio, but that shouldn't be an issue for the creator. You know, and I get it. The reality is that, you know, they do what they do because the studio wants to make money. You know, I get that. But I'm just speaking more from an artistic side of things. I would really love if they, you know, if there was more boldness in adaptations in general, especially in with book or video game adaptations, because they always fall into like certain flavors or certain, you know, tastes, and I'm just kind of not necessarily tired of it, but I'm just getting kind of bored with it, you know? Like, I don't really find myself interested in, like I said, I'm more gravitating towards independence, it seems, nowadays. And it's because they are presenting more original work, more original voices. We're here, similar to how it is with Marvel films, it almost feels like factory work, you know? While it might seem kind of visually interesting at times, I don't find myself involved or that caring. I kind of look past, you know, a lot of the noise that surrounds these sort of things. You know, and I see a lot of missteps personally. So, but yeah, I really hope that, you know, like, I hope that we can see more distinction in the future when it comes to adapting source material in the film front, in the mainstream culture. But knowing that that's a big ask, because, you know, the studio's in it to make money, not to make art. So that's my thoughts on video game adaptations. Generally speaking, I just don't really care for them. But you guys let me know. Did you guys like the Last of Us show? I mean, just from what I saw, it looked okay. You guys let me know. Do you guys think that video game adaptations have worked at all? And do you think that they can improve? The reality is that I don't think that they ever will, because it's just, you know, studios need to make money. But I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We'll probably have more reviews in the future. I know I said I was gonna see A Man Called Otto. That's still kind of in the air. We'll see. Now I'll get back to you on that. We'll see. But I will be checking out something tonight, so stay tuned for that review. Hopefully it's already up by now. So, but yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in the next video.